And now I shall be muting everyone. Everyone will be muted, and I would request Hetu to unmute himself. And Dr. Lavkare. Right. Welcome to this. Hetu, what time is it there? 6:30?
6:30 in the morning.
Well, so nice of you to get up so early in the morning and for us be ready for a talk. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us and being here with us. We have been looking forward to this session on Facebook because it's of great interest to all of us. Facebook has become almost addictive to a large number of persons, people with a large following of 100 friends, 200 friends, 1,000 friends, and so on. And to us, it has more been an instrument for developing social relationships. But to a large number of people, it means much more than that. It means a way of projecting themselves, of personal branding, or even of promoting the company's products. And there are many things about those aspects of Facebook that we don't know. Anyway, we will leave it to you to talk to us about Facebook as a whole and then give us some uh, idea of the things that we don't know about Facebook, the way that Facebook organizes its activities, the way that it helps people uh, develop traffic to the page and so on. So I won't go further. I have with me at the end of Hetu's presentation, I have two of my friends to constitute a panel, Shirish Rege and Dr. Arun Shrirsagar. I'll introduce them later as soon as this presentation is over. But before Hetu comes on, let me request Dr. Prabhakar Lavkare to formally uh, introduce Hetu because it was Prabhakar who got hold of him when he came here on a short visit. Prabhakar?
Yeah, thank you. Hetu, your formal, very, very illustrious bio has been circulated. And so I'm not going to read through all that, but we know we have a bright young man here who is going to talk to us. Hetu, the way it's going to happen is after talking to you for a minute, introducing you to us on Zoom, which is unfortunate. I wish you were physically present with us. Then I'm going to talk to the audience and tell them about you, the way I met you and the way I do it. And so before we do that, let me first thank you for coming and coming on Zoom and agreeing to do this. I remember you met me first in the cafeteria. And as is my habit, I try to catch young people and try to get into conversation with them. And you were very cooperative. You came forward, and then later on, when I learned about Facebook, I decided to request you, and it's good. I'm glad it's worked out. Okay, now let me talk to. So once again, thank you, and let me now talk to Athasrians and the other participants in this. Hetu Nandan actually I attracted my attention when he visited Athasri last month. And the mission on which he came to India was itself a very worthwhile visit, in the sense that he was escorting his father-in-law, Balakrishna, who had had a very serious illness while he was in US. And for a son-in-law to escort his father-in-law, I think is a very, very noble gesture. And on behalf of all the Athasrians, we thank you for bringing Balakrishna back to us safely. And I meet him every day and he's in good condition. Then when I met you at the canteen and you and Hetu had agreed that he would come, after that, I realized that Athasrians have a lot of contacts. And now increasingly, we are having more and more in-laws, daughters, son, who are all professionals. And Raja, if I can tell you that if we get all of them together, we won't have to worry about scheduling. We can schedule a 1 year program. There are so many of them around. And I think Zoom is going to help us in doing this together. As far as Facebook is concerned, I must admit, I started with a great zeal, attraction, and I thought I think I'm on Facebook. But pretty soon I lost, and this is where your mission should change us, Hetu. Because what happens is after some time you start getting messages, oh, here's my girlfriend and here's her dog. How do you like him? And so on. I don't know whose girlfriend it is, whose dog it is, but I keep on getting such messages. And somebody will display a new dress I've got on from the market on a sale. So these things come up, and pretty soon I got so discouraged that I would like to, because many of my students send me on Facebook, and I would like to connect with them. But these haphazard Facebook things which come up have made me any mail coming in Facebook, I automatically delete it. So I'm hoping that today's your talk will reinvent many interests in many one of us. Because many of my friends have told me this, I'm not the only one, but many of them have told me that Facebook becomes sometimes very childlike, childish kind of inputs. And I don't know whether you have any control over this or not, but that is something which, while I agree with you, and Raja said that, agree that you have brought people together. Not only that, socially, otherwise, but I don't want it to get into a frivolous situation where people really so. So let me see what your mission is going to be all about. And I know that it's all of us, many of us, I think in Athashri may be on Facebook, but I don't know what it is. And I would like to hear from your professional talk is what I requested Hetu to do. And I think that's what we are going to hear from him. So with that background, Hetu, just enlighten us on what is Facebook and your mission, and how we can get some of us back on your Facebook. Okay, so thank you so much once again. And Balkrishna and Gomati, you're very fortunate to have a son-in-law like that. And Gomati is always keen, keeps on asking me, when is his talk, when is his talk? And finally, I think she is able to see you. Okay, Hetu, it's all yours now.
Thank you, Uncle, for the introduction. And I'm afraid you might be setting unrealistic expectations of me from this talk. I will try and present a little bit about Facebook, the company, and Facebook, how people use it. But I was trying to imagine Facebook has about 100,000 employees now. I'm just one of them. I happen to be one of them, and I'm not trying to represent the company. I'm just sharing what I know about how people use it. These are all, I think I sent a long disclaimer before in the email, but these are, to the extent that I share any opinions, they're mine. To the extent that I share any facts, they're public. And to the extent that we have any questions, it's an open discussion. But I'm not representing my employer. I'm just representing my in-laws actually today. So thank you for giving me this opportunity again. As Laukare uncle said, we met in a cafeteria and in Athashri a few months ago, and I've been promising to do this. I think we had to reschedule it once at least. So I'm glad that I finally get the opportunity to give you a little bit of what Facebook does, but also answer any questions. I'm going to switch out to slides. So you're going to start seeing my slides. It's a small enough group that unless Dr. Raja or any of the other organizers are against, I'm happy to take questions at any point of time. Please just pause me and ask me a question during when I present. It's a better way, in my opinion, when I don't know the audience very well and what you're interested in, to just spend time in areas where you would like to know more.
Just 1 second, Hetu. I would
Sure.
remind our members to, I request them to use the chat box. So you feel free to write whatever you like in the chat box, and we can take them up for discussion.
Sounds good. And Uncle, please
after your
feel free to interrupt
presentation.
me.
Yes.
If there's a
Yes.
question in the chat
Yes.
box when I'm presenting, please feel free
Yes.
to
If
share
someone
it.
in chat box is insistent, then I'll unmute that person.
Sure. I'm just saying that when I present, I might not be able to see the chat box. So
Fine,
please feel
fine.
free to stop me if needed. Okay. I have very few slides, about 20 of them. Most of them are like, factoids. Hopefully they're interesting, but again, please feel free to stop me if you'd like to know more about anything. I'm going to talk about Facebook, the company, and our mission. Dr. Raja asked me specifically to also talk about how Facebook is used for marketing and businesses. So I've put some slides at the end for that. I don't know how interesting it is to this audience, but I'm happy to spend more or less time on any part of this deck that I pulled together last. And this is basically the theme of the talk. I'll try and start with some context and try and answer them. Hopefully these are again interesting. I'll start with what is Facebook. When people talk about Facebook, they have a particular thing in mind, but I'm talking about Facebook. I'll talk about Facebook, the company first, and then I'll talk about Facebook, the product. So most people, when they think of Facebook, they're thinking about the product. When when Lavkar uncle was talking about, his concerns over how childish it is or frivolous it is, I think he's talking about one particular feature of the Facebook product. But Facebook, the company, is much larger than the product, Facebook. There are at least 4 big products that Facebook, the company, builds, and this is only a subset of the things that we build. When I come to India, I often have to remind people that Facebook, the company, also powers WhatsApp, the chat, and that my grandmother, for example, never understood what I did, but the moment I said I work for WhatsApp, WhatsApp company, she kind of knew what I was doing. So different people in the world use different products that we make. There's a question about it in a short while. And these are not the only products that we build. There's a lot more that we build, but these are the 4 large ones that people might be familiar with. The first is, of course, what we call Blue app, Facebook app. People use Facebook app to share what matters to them and to discover what's going on in the world. And for most of the remainder, I will focus on that one because my sense was that is what people would like to know more about. Instagram is an app, is a product that is primarily used for photo and video sharing. People use Instagram to get inspired, find and explore interests, share passions, and create connections. I will confess to being too old to understand Instagram. My sister is younger sister is about the right age that she barely understands Instagram. And I would need to catch a teenager or somebody like that to explain Instagram to me. So I will not spend too much time talking about it. And I apologize in advance if you are an Instagram heavy user or would like to know more about Instagram. My understanding is Instagram is like Facebook, but there's a lot more photos. WhatsApp, everybody should be familiar with. I'm pretty sure there are people on this audience who can tell me things about WhatsApp that I do not know. I just wanted to remind people that the same company builds all these products. Messenger is a WhatsApp-like product that's popular in the US and a few other countries. There are some similarities between WhatsApp and Messenger. There are some differences. Just like Facebook and Instagram have some similarities and there are some differences. I will primarily focus on the first one today, but I just wanted to use this slide to remind that there's a lot more to the company, the Facebook, the company, than just Facebook, the product. Questions so far? Again, I'm happy to take questions whenever you have any. Okay. I see 4 messages on the chat. I don't know if that's...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Questions later. Otherwise, we might get distracted.
No, you go ahead. I'm just putting it on the chat.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Again, as a summary, we call this often the family of apps, family of products. WhatsApp is great for one-to-one conversations. Messenger is great for small group conversations. WhatsApp is used pretty heavily these days on group conversations too. Facebook is primarily used for your friends and communities. And Instagram is very commonly used, again, not often, not always, but commonly used to broadcast to the world. So by default, anything you post on Instagram is kind of a photo or a video. It's supposed to be more enticing and inspirational and is intended to be consumed by the rest of the world unless you specify otherwise. So these different products are intended for different communication use cases. Communication is kind of the core of what we do as a company and the products that we build. Okay, to make this more engaging, and maybe this is not preferred mode, I've had some questions. I put some questions in. Think of it as a quiz, pop quiz, or instant exam. I know there are a lot of people here who have come from from educational background, who are educators, and so they might appreciate the reason why I'm putting this in the during the talk. So, quick question: what fraction of the world uses Facebook across its products? Please unmute and answer to make this interactive.
Do you want me to, do you want them to write it out?
No, you can just, there are only 20 people I see. So if you wish to answer, just unmute and make a guess.
There's
Someone says 50%.
50%, okay.
1%.
I like it.
1%.
10%, okay.
And 1%.
1%, okay.
Oh.
1%, we have 1% and 50%. We can make this an auction and see who gets closest to the answer. Any other guesses?
20%.
20%, okay. Getting warmer. 1, 20, and 50.
What fraction of the world uses Facebook? You mean the total number of users?
Yes.
Fraction.
Oh,
25%.
number of users as a fraction of the world's population.
Oh, the
Maybe
world's population.
25%.
Well, I think it should be less than 10%.
Okay. We have 1 less than 10. I'll point out that 1 is less than 10. 20, 50.
25.
I've heard 25. Okay. I think I've had enough guesses, and people are, hovering around a range of the low double digits to the single digits. There are about 8 billion people in the world, about 5 billion people on the internet, and about 3 billion people who use Facebook.
Wow.
So depending on your denominator, if you take the world's population, which is kind of what I alluded to, it's about a little less than 30%. I think somebody who said 25% is probably the closest. If you take the fraction of people who are on the internet, who have some connection to the internet, whether through a smartphone or through something else, and take the fraction of that, it's a little larger than 50%. And again, I think somebody guessed 50%. So it depends on what your denominator is, but it's a very large fraction of the world. And that's primarily why, different people have different opinions of Facebook and different experiences with Facebook. When something is used by half the world's population or a quarter of the world's population, there are 2.8 or 2.8 billion different experiences that people have, and no single experience explains the entire universe. Okay, so thank you for participating in that. It's always nice to have a group of engaged audience and informed audience, because I can, somebody came pretty close, and most of you were in the right ballpark. Okay, this is the next slide is the core of the rest of the presentation. I'll briefly describe what the Facebook mission is. It's a mouthful these days, but I'll try and talk through different products or different features of the Facebook product that help us build towards this mission after this. Our mission is to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. When, Lavakare uncle was talking. Yes, is there a question?
Hello?
Okay, I'll keep going. When Lavakare uncle was talking about for Facebook, for example, he talked about how he would like to stay in touch with his students. His students are a part of his community, a part of his social circle. And one of the core missions of Facebook is to help people to find and build that community. And in general, to bring the world closer together. Our strong belief is that when people communicate, when people build communities, when people interact with each other, people come closer. And if half the world's population is is using it, then hopefully we are actually doing a meaningful step. We are making meaningful steps towards making the world closer. this is our mission statement. We've evolved our mission over the years. Originally, it was to connect the world. When we realized that, we were connecting to the world, or to most of the world, we realized we need to do more than just connecting to the world. And so then we built a more informed and a more involved mission statement, which is kind of the next step. Half the world is is already using it. They're connected to it. They're connecting to each other. What can we do beyond connections? And we realized that, building a community, building a group of people you can interact with in a close basis is probably the next step. Again, these are my color and nuance and opinions to what is the official mission statement. Please treat these as my own opinions on what we're trying to do. Okay. I'll next talk about several ways people use Facebook, the product. Just to illustrate, reiterate the point that there are it's a wide variety of use cases, and given the diversity of our users and the diversity of their needs, each person's experience is different and different from the others. But I'll just talk about a few common, popular features of the product, and then at the end of this 4 slide, there's a 5th slide, I think, which I'll talk about my favorite use case for Facebook. So when people think of Facebook, the product, most people are thinking of newsfeed, which is kind of what you see when you open up Facebook. This is a screenshot from my Facebook today morning. I scrolled down just to capture something that was interesting. Sushant is a classmate of mine from IIT. He was also a captain of the IIT hockey team. And so anything related to hockey, he will make a point to comment on it and share some opinions on it. So he was sharing an opinion of the Indian men's hockey team, which I think won a medal in the Olympics a couple of days ago. And having seen the team, he's feeling very positive about the quality of the players and the forward line. So again, a friend I know, I've interacted with commonly, and who's also in some sense in my social circle, the hockey expert, sharing his opinions on what is the current state of the hockey team. The number of cricket experts in my social circle is far, far larger than the number of hockey experts. So the few hockey experts in my social circle, I do benefit from their inputs. I also want to talk about that newsfeed is not just for friends anymore. I'm showing you something below, and this is something which is, you can see on the subtitle here, it says suggested for you. Facebook often tries to suggest things which we think might be useful to you or you might be interested in, even if they're not directly coming from your social circle. This is from King 5, which is a news channel in Seattle. And this is talking about a local news story in Seattle that just happened. It's a way for me to be informed. I don't actually subscribe to the King 5 news channel, but my father-in-law is here. Now I can get serious and tensed up. But this is a way for us, for Facebook, to try and make suggestions in the hope that we find something that is interesting and informative to each user. Okay, go to the next slide. The other common thing, which is actually very popular and very useful when you need it, is Facebook groups. This is one of the core ways we build communities, and we keep communities engaged in Facebook. I've included a screenshot of a Facebook group that I have found personally very useful. It is called the SOS Global Indians group. If you've never heard about this, this is a group of Indians across the world using this group primarily to share urgent needs, requirements, updates, some critical, some not so. So, when I had to come to India during COVID, and I was coming to escort my in-laws, there were a lot of rules which were changing every day on who can travel, how can you travel, what do you need to travel, what tests do you need to take, what airlines are flying, etc. and it was impossible to keep track of all of them on a daily basis because they were changing so much. This was a lifesaver for us at that time. People here post about what flight they took, what questions were asked, what paperwork was needed, what trouble they had, what food they ate on the plane, what to carry on the plane, all sorts of useful things. And so I have posted in this group several times asking questions on, I am flying Qatar via Doha on this day. Does anybody know of any issues? Where should I pick up? Where should I get my PCR test? Do I need a PCR test 24 hours before, 48 hours before, 72 hours before? In this extremely dynamic environment, even the Qatar website was not up to date and not accurate. And this group ended up being an extremely accurate and useful way for me to know what I should do. Different people use the Facebook groups in different manners. I just talked about something I've used recently. I also am the admin for the SPICMA-K Pittsburgh group, which is a group I had created and very active in when I was in Pittsburgh in school, when I was in grad school. And SPICMA-K groups across the world, for example, use their local chapters to engage with their community to propagate and share classical music, Indian classical music, for example. I had another screenshot for SPICMA-K, but I didn't have space to include two, so I just included this one. I'll pause for questions again in case anyone has any so far. If not, I'll. Okay, Dr. Raja is indicating that I should keep moving. Dinner is coming. This is another thing that I personally use. It's actually used by about 1 billion people, I think, in the world. It's called Facebook Marketplace, and it's kind of also bringing up a little bit more of the business and marketing that Dr. Raja wanted me to talk a little bit about. Facebook Marketplace is a way for people to buy and sell and to engage in commercial activity. This is a screenshot of my Facebook Marketplace product today. It makes recommendations or suggestions on things I might be interested in. The first one, for example, is a pet bike carrier. I was looking for something for my 2-year-old to sit on my cycle. So I'm looking for like a chair, a small seat where my son can sit so that we can go cycling together. And Facebook Marketplace is saying if you are looking for kids carriers, maybe you want a pet carrier too. I do not have a pet, so it got that wrong. And this is one of the ways, it can Facebook can be helpful if it gets it right, but it can also be irritating, as Dr. Lavkare suggested, because it's making suggestions that you don't really wish to see. This is, the more we use the Facebook, the better it gets. The less we use it, the less it knows about you, and therefore the less useful it can be. Again, personal opinions. Please do not construe any opinions that I share here that are based on my personal experience to be corporate or company opinions. I'm just one employee out of more than 100,000. This is a new thing. I believe it's very popular in India amongst youngsters, and I've been called young man in my introduction here. To feel young, I've included a screenshot of how the youngsters use Facebook. This is called Reels. It's a great way to be entertained. You just open it and it'll show you a bunch of really interesting videos that other people are uploading. Users like yourself, like ourselves, are uploading to Facebook. This is about a kid and his son, about a dad and his son, and the young boy is laughing at his father's jokes. I'm not going to show the video right now. I have a few other videos that I'd like to go over later. But if you wish to be entertained, there's nothing better than short, funny videos, and Facebook has a lot of them. And finally, this is the one that is my favorite feature for Facebook. It's the Facebook fundraisers. It's really helped a lot of nonprofits that I know and I'm personally involved in reach a large number of people to fundraise for causes that we all care about. The number of things that, on a daily basis that each of us might personally care about is very large. The number of causes or nonprofits or organizations that we wish to support might be large, but there is a lot of work to be done to go from that intent or wish to help a organization or a nonprofit to actually going and writing a check or whatever and mailing it to them, finding out their mailing address, sending it to them, or somebody coming to your house and taking a donation. That's a pretty expensive, pretty high effort way to fundraise. Facebook makes it a lot more easier to find the right people who care about your organization, who care about your cause, to care about your nonprofit, and fundraise from them. Because when you form a community, you're more than willing often to support it, not just in your time but also financially. And there have been a lot of very great stories and ways that our users use this fundraising product and fundraise for the things they need. um, there is I'm not going, this is just screenshots from the Facebook website. These are not my fundraisers or fundraisers I've used, but this is one of my favorite features of Facebook. These are all about users and the products we build for users. I will shortly go into talking about businesses and how businesses use Facebook and marketing. It's explicitly because Dr. Raja asked me to. Before I go there, I thought I will show you a few videos on how people actually use Facebook, a few stories. Give me a second while I try and open that video. Hopefully I don't mess up the Zoom call.
फिर मैं अभी 10 दिन अभी करके आया, तो मतलब आप मेरे में आप मैं अगर वापस अगर क्वारंटीन में चला गया तो आई थिंक आई एम नॉट एबल टू प्ले.
Agree. नहीं I totally understand. Honestly, ये मेरा actually ये तो हमारे साथ.
My mom does everything with a lot of passion, and that quality in her has actually made me a better person. I see myself saying or doing the things which I saw my mom doing a couple of years back. We have the same kind of habits, the same kind of cooking style. We keep our house the same way. My name is Sheena Sharma. I grew up in Jammu and Kashmir in India, and now I live in the US in Reston, Virginia. I didn't ever want to leave India actually, but love makes you do all sorts of things. Love brought me to America. The only thing which was troubling me was I'm going to be away from my parents. I am very, very close to my mom. When I knew that I'm going to move, I was trying to prepare her in all the ways that she'd be able to be in touch with me, but she wasn't ready. She didn't even know how to send a text. One morning when I get up, I see that Sunanda Nath has sent you a friend request. I was so surprised. It actually woke me up completely. So I called her and she was like, yes, I'm on Facebook now, so let's be friends. Now, whenever I make a post, she's probably the first one to like it. I have a message from her every morning when I wake up. That's the kind of closeness we share. Mothers work very hard to bring up their child, to make us feel that we are loved. And all we can do is just tell them that we love them too.
हो जाता मतलब तुम तो फिर भी एथलीट हो यार. क्योंकि अगर जैसे आईपीएल अगर पूरा चलता तो मैंने मन बना अपना बहुत क्यूट है, मुझे बहुत बढ़िया लगता है, बट मैच तो.
Sorry about the random video after this. I don't know what other tab is opening and showing you that. But to reiterate, I knew I would do something wrong. I've lost screen sharing, but I think I should be able to pick it up in a second. Okay. Am I still with everybody? Okay. That was just one video of how mom and daughter stay in touch with Facebook. Again, communication is kind of at the core of what the company believes in, and community, and how to build community with that communication and connections. And this is just one real life story of a mom and daughter. I'm sure it resonates with some of you. There are a few more. I'm not going to spend time going over each of these examples. I'm happy to send them offline. So if you're interested, you can take a look at the other videos. Much promised and requested by Dr. Raja on Facebook for businesses and marketing. I'll spend a few minutes on it. If there are questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I don't know how many of you are interested in this, or would like to know more about it. So I just put some basic information that I could find. Before that, why would people do marketing on Facebook, or why do businesses come to Facebook? I wanted to reiterate some of the opportunities of businesses and marketing on Facebook. There are 2.2 billion people. Half the world's internet population is on the internet, is on Facebook. So if you want to reach a very large number of people and want to build a customer base, for example, businesses come here because of the number of people they cannot reach. 88% of people use Facebook on their phone. There's a small number of people who still use it on a computer and an iPad. 66% of the people who have a Facebook account use it daily. 77% of a very large portion of the advertising market is owned by Facebook. I think this number is outdated. I think the global revenue is about $85-90 billion a year at this point. So it's a very large business. A lot of businesses come to Facebook to reach their user base and to reach their customers. And these are just numbers illustrating the scale. There are a few tips on how to use Facebook for business marketing. I've included some links on marketing and how people use Facebook and social media for it. I'll talk a little bit more about one of them, which I know a little bit more about, which is how to use Facebook ads. But when you're a business and you're trying to reach an audience, you want to make sure you engage with them. So you are communicating with them in ways that they find interesting. That this is a two-way communication channel. So you are listening to them. It's not TV. If you're making something on TV, you can only broadcast, you cannot listen. Instead, online channels like Facebook allow you to both communicate outwards, but also inwards. So you're able to send your message, but also listen to what your customers are talking to you. You can promote your events. Maybe you have a sale. You can promote your sale. Maybe you have a fundraiser. You can promote your fundraiser, as I talked about. And then you can run ads on this, just like you run ads in any other place to reach more customers. Again, I'm not sure how interested people are in this part. Please pause or send questions on chat, and I'm happy to answer them. I've included some basic information in this slide and the next one. A large way businesses reach their customers and do marketing is through advertisements. There's several things that you can do on Facebook that you could not do before Facebook or the internet. One of them is to identify and reach a specific group of people and no others. This is really hard to do before, much more easier now. You can determine your audience and the customers you want to reach based on where they live, their demographics, what they're interested in. You can connect to people, you can reach people who maybe who have previously been interested in your business, and you would like to remind them again about your business and engage with them. Or maybe they came to your store and they purchased one thing, and now you were trying to say, you can purchase one more thing. And then the very interesting thing that you can do, which is not, again, before the internet was not possible, is you can reach people who are like your customers. So your customers, maybe you have maybe you go to Loyal Store. Loyal Store wants to reach more people. It's a Loyal Store says, I reach people in Athashri. A lot of people in Athashri come to me, but I'd like to find more people like that. And so Loyal Store can run ads reaching people who are like their customers in Athashri. I think it was Loyal Store, that was store nearby Athashri, right? That's how I remember the name at least. Somebody's nodding, so I think I remember the name right. So these are ways businesses, small businesses, large businesses, services are able to reach their customers or their desired customers on Facebook, whether it's through Facebook, the app, or whether it's Instagram or other ways. That is the extent. There's one more, you can achieve specific goals. Again, this is very business focused. I don't know too much about this. I just included a slide that I found. But if anybody has questions, I can try and make a guess at and answer them. This is nowhere close to how I use Facebook. That's the extent of my slide. I think there are some questions and hands raised, so I'm happy to take them.
Hi.
Hello.
One second. Let me thank you, Hetu, for an excellent presentation. We will have questions, but before we take on questions, I would like to bring in Shirish, Rege, and Arun Shirsagar into the discussion, to start off the discussion. I myself have quite a few questions, but I'm holding them back. I'd like to raise them later after they start off the discussion. So Shirish, and let me try.
Would it be easier if I stopped sharing my slides? I don't know.
Yes, I think we'll then be able to see each other.
Right.
Let me one sec. Yes, Arun. And Shirish. And where is Hetu now? Yeah. Shirish, would you like to start off?
Yeah. Just a qualifying remark, Hetu, before we start. If during question answer, if you ever feel that something you're not authorized to talk on, or it's awkward to you in any respect, please feel free to say so, because the intention is not to embarrass you, but to elicit more information and get a better perspective of Facebook, its role in the world, and its future plans. So this is just a qualifying remark. The first question I have is, on one hand, Facebook seems to have got its act together by acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp. Okay. On the other hand, there is bipartisan draft legislation in the US Congress for putting for reining in big tech companies like Facebook, and it's also similar initiatives are supported in EU. But Facebook has WhatsApp and Instagram, which plays a major role in Mark Zuckerberg's version of what he calls metaverse. Okay, where physical and virtual reality come together, where it contains a fully fledged economy, and it offers unprecedented interoperability. And for that vision to fructify, perhaps WhatsApp and Instagram are also major components. So if perhaps you can start explaining what the metaverse concept of Mark Zuckerberg is, and how this new legislation or lawmakers efforts to curb in big tech companies will affect Mark Zuckerberg's person?
I'm smiling because this is walking into the first day test match pitch, and James Anderson bowls a high-speed bouncer right at your so no, I'll answer some of it. I'm neither informed nor able to answer rest. So I think I'm just sharing what is communicated publicly. Is the metaverse concept is a vision that our founders and the leader CEO has about how the future world will look like in an online digital environment. COVID might be reiterating this, emphasizing how a lot of our interactions have gone online. This conversation 2 years ago would have only been imagined if I was in Athashri and all of you were in Athashri and we were in the same place, same time. The last year has taught us a lot about how we can move our interactions to digital and still preserve the connections that we need. And I think the larger metaverse concept is a vision of the direction we are going and where the company wishes to go. This combines a lot of existing things, but a lot of things that do not exist. And is setting visions, long-term visions, is a common way for leadership in general to motivate us to identify ways to get there. So at some point, that's why I talked about the mission statement. Our mission statement used to be to connect the world. When we felt like we made a substantial progress on that, we updated our mission statement to build a community. Similarly, the vision in terms of metaverse is aimed at building this as steps towards this mission. That's the higher level answer on the metaverse aspects. On legislation, active or pending, I'm neither a lawyer nor the legal spokesperson for Facebook. So I have no opinions, no comments to add. I actually don't know much about it.
Okay. Anything further to that, Shirish? Or Arun, would you like to? Okay, Shirish, if you want to say something.
Let Arun go ahead.
Yeah. Arun, go. Come in. Please come in, Arun.
Yes. Mr. Shirish Rege talked about, probably in the context of America. I would like to put my thoughts regarding how it is being used in India. One of the things that every day one gets at least 8 to 10 messages that he wants to be friend with you. And you go to that person, but you find that he has locked his profile. This is one. As a result of which, if I'm talking to, let's say, one Mr. Abhay Pense, he will write, lives in Mumbai, from Mumbai. And then there'll be chat with friends and all that. Further, in the last 2 years, gradually, the chats have reduced very considerably. Because people are extremely engaged with nothing but WhatsApp. By the time you send a WhatsApp message to somebody, as soon as you finish, you get an answer. But Facebook is a different medium altogether, which I do already. Now, in India, people are probably worried of they getting unpleasant things if they share their data. So what I'm saying, at least when the friendship is exchanged, you should be able to access his biodata. That is not happening. Second, all foreign companies in India, like even Microsoft, if I want to buy a license for a Microsoft Office, I just cannot contact anybody. And we have a method of calling centers. The call center people don't understand what we are talking, and we never get back feedback. However, now why I'm talking all this? In India, the people below the age of 24 spend most of their time in education and getting admission into a good institute, getting a good job, and that kind of thing. So, if in India we have something like an education thing which gives information to you, then that will be a very useful thing and used by more and more people. So I have basically three things: that when people lock their data, second, the use is not frequent, third, about students, and fourth is people don't see the messaging service on Facebook for days together in India.
Yeah, I'm happy to take them. Thank you, Uncle, for the exhaustive list. The first one definitely looks like a. So one of the nice things about talking to people, like new set of people, is you hear new perspectives on pain points and ways they experience it. So the friending, when somebody sends a friend request, but the profile is locked, you do not know what that is. That does look like something we could improve. I mean, there is a slight tension here. The person who locked their profile wishes to lock their profile for privacy reasons or safety reasons or something. But at the same time, the disadvantage is when their friend, not many people know who this person is or whether they should friend them. So we could definitely look into whether making it easier. Maybe when people have logged their profile and send a friending request, we can give them an option to temporarily unlock or something.
Yes.
I can share this feedback. I don't work on that part, but I can share this feedback for sure.
You
I'm
can
sure.
just give a general. We can't give, sorry to interrupt, we can't talk or communicate with anybody in Microsoft, Facebook, WhatsApp, name any American company. But there are companies, for example, Honeywell, General Electric. We can talk to them.
Right. I'll get to that in a minute if you don't mind. So the second was okay. Let me answer this thing. So this I totally understand the frustration, occasional frustration or the pain points when you have something. It's not easy to reach somebody on the phone, to talk to somebody. I think I just want to point out that different companies have different business models and different scale. So Facebook for the end user is a free service that reaches 25% of the world's population. If we were to try to find ways for each of those 2.2 billion people or 2.8 billion people to find customer service on the phone, we will probably need 100 million, 200 million people just to answer those phone calls. So that does not scale. So what we try to do is provide help and support within the product itself. So if you have a question, if you type that question within Facebook, you will sometime hopefully get an answer because there is a help page. But I recognize that is a problem. It is common problems are solvable. For example, this lock profile thing, I'm sure there's a help page or something that points to this being a known problem or something that they're working on. But when it's a much more unique problem, it just gets hard because, there's so many unique problems and there are only so many we can solve. There's a distinction between how the availability or accessibility of Facebook, which is kind of a free service for its users, uh, versus, say, since you gave an example of General Electric or Honeywell, which sells you a machine or sells you a device and makes money out of that each transaction. The number of customers they have is a much smaller number, and they can afford to put a salesperson or a customer service person, which is some fraction of their customer person, and still maintain profitability. That is harder when it's a free service going out to a large number of people. In contrast, if you are a business or an advertiser on Facebook and you're paying money and you're getting some service out of it, there is some customer service and there are sales and marketing teams who are available to you. But that is the part of the business where there is a financial transaction and there is a margin that we can use to fund those things. For end users, unfortunately, with the free service model, it simply does not scale. So that's to that. The third thing, and I think I might have missed one because I wrote down only 3 things here, is education and people under 24. I think people under any age and over any age can learn, but I agree with the sentiment that the young generation should be primarily learning, or at least is primarily engaged in that. There have been several initiatives on this. I know of people within Facebook and teams that have tried to improve this. Again, when when Facebook, the company, tries to do this, we try to do it we try to identify what we can do that we can uniquely do, and do it at a large scale. So if we are able to help, um, millions of people, millions of young people in education, it would be something that we would definitely consider. If you have specific ideas, I'd love to pass them on to the team. There's actually an education team at Facebook that tries to build products for education. There are several things that they do with universities and stuff, because there is a clearer understanding of what they need. Facebook started out of a university. For the first few years of our existence, we only were available to students. So it's a part of the user base and community that we keenly care about and focus on. It just might not be visible in or apparent to everybody. So if you have any particular suggestions, I'm happy to take them and again pass them.
I would request Arun and Shirish to stay on, but meanwhile, I have a request from Mr. Dr. Natarajan. He wants to come in with a question. He says, I want to tell you about a major oddity in FB. Please give me a hearing. Natarajan, please come in. Please unmute
It's
yourself.
not Natarajan, sir.
Oh, yes, of
Natarajan
course.
is
It's you. It's you.
Yes.
Padmini, please come in and please, let's see you.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know why it's not showing me. It doesn't like me.
No,
There
no,
I
we
am.
can see you. We
Right,
can see
right.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
She
One
is-
major problem.
one
in
second. She is an avid Facebook user.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Auntie.
Hi. One major problem with the FB. It does not recognize my husband as my husband. It refuses
As
to
a
give
friend.
him. It refuses to give him a relationship. He's only my friend on Facebook, and I'm not friends with him at home. I can promise you that.
Maybe that's the problem. I'm joking. Auntie, I'm actually I'm happy to help here. I can if you.
I've sent feedback. I've written about it. I've joked about it on FB. Nobody has given me a listen.
I'm happy to help. This might be a simple bug or a simple tweak. If I can reach out to you, I'll get your email ID or something and reach out to you. This is probably something that is easily fixable, hopefully, and we can look into it.
No, it doesn't give the relationship as husband at all.
No, he's now promising that he'll do something about it.
You still want him to be not be my husband. Okay.
No, he will.
For the sake of marital bliss, which I'm keenly aware of, and my wife.
No, he's not interested. My husband is not interested to be my husband.
You have to
Maybe
decide.
that is the problem. Maybe he was given the option to accept and he refused. So, maybe you need to have a conversation. 50
years this year, and he still doesn't want to be called my husband.
Okay. I think that's between you and your husband. You decide. You decide and then come back to us. Okay. Now let's go on to the next question. Shall we go?
Thank you. God bless.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Uh, you always come in with very lively questions. Uh, okay, let's get back to the discussion. I also would like to voice what Arun has said. You know, this business of locked profile. Whenever I see a locked profile, and I too get plenty of requests, I immediately delete that person. I don't even know anything about that person, and we have no mutual friends. So there is nothing that I can be of. I mean, I don't see any common interests and so on. That's, I think, one thing which we uh, are concerned with. The other thing is, um, you talked about the Facebook marketplace. Now, you know, compared to Amazon.com or Flipkart or any of the other online marketing uh, channels, I've tried Facebook Marketplace, but I've thought that the Facebook Marketplace is also a place which is totally free from fraud and that I could rely on the vendors. Whereas in Amazon, there is a stamp of quality, there is a stamp of reliability. They blacklist the vendor, or you know, you give a rating to the vendor. Whereas here, I mean, I've had the personal experience. I've paid up, and the fellow is not traceable. Uh, and then I followed up, I Googled, and I found out there were several other complaints about the same chap. And nobody could, he had a website too, but that website was almost dead. And this has been happening not merely to me, but not an isolated example, but others. How can Facebook Marketplace be made a more reliable, safer marketplace? That's one
Yeah,
question. Yeah.
sure. I'm happy to take it. I'm sorry to hear about your experience, Uncle. I'll qualify that Facebook Marketplace is primarily a C2C effort. If you've heard that phrase before, it's kind of customer to customer directly. Somebody has something extra they want to sell, and somebody else wants to buy. We want to make that easier. There is an extensive fraud detection and prevention even within that, especially if payments are made online. If you can send me some specific examples, I can follow up with the team. I don't work on it, but we can
Okay.
see if there's anything specific we can do.
Okay.
There are systematic ways to try and prevent it, but there are also cat and mouse game. The better the cat gets, the more intelligent the mouse is.
Yeah.
So this is a constant fight. It's slightly different again than the Amazon or Flipkart model, where it's a business to customer. So there are established businesses. They go through some registration. There is a authorization and etc. This is intended directly to be customer to customer. So it's a different space.
The other question I have is that, you mentioned engaging with the audience, listening to the audience, promoting the events, and use Facebook for ads. Now, when it comes to listening to your audience, do companies fear that when you listen, the feedback that you get from your customers may also be negative? And if it is negative, it's for public view. Everyone will get to know about it. And negative feedback normally travels much faster than positive feedback. So it might have a backlash. And because of that, do the companies sort of, being conscious of that, do they not use Facebook? Is it something which
Yeah, I think it's a very fair question, and it's a very important question. I think if you think about it, the feedback from customer, if you flip it around, right? Like, if you cannot provide feedback to the business or about the business, the kind of things that you just talked about, like the fraud you described, would be much harder to detect or much harder to provide a cycle on. So the same companies which do B2C like Amazon and Flipkart or other places rely substantially on the same public honest feedback and a rating and a star rating and stuff provided by users. And I think businesses have come to realize that if they want long-term success, this sort of feedback loop keeps the good businesses above the bad businesses. So yes, there is always fear if you open yourself up to listening that you might hear something you do not want to. But at the same time, if you are doing the right things, hopefully it is a positive outcome for you. And the a very large number of I don't know the numbers publicly numbers. I think hundreds of millions of businesses use Facebook today. So presumably,
just one more question before I it back to Shirish and Arun. Has WhatsApp hit Messenger?
I do not know what the public stance on that is. So I think we think of them
In
as
terms of usage figures,
right. I mean, since we tend to think of our net usage across as a union, and what is definitely true is that these different products we build are complementary, and the net sum is greater than the sum of parts. So in net, it's a positive. I don't know anything beyond that, especially what the public
okay,
stance is.
okay.
I think there was a question on messaging from Dr. Arun too, which I did not get to. That was probably the missing question. Our general belief is we want to provide as many ways for you to communicate with different groups of people that you need to, and some tend to work for some groups of people and some don't. For reasons that I never completely understand, WhatsApp is super big in India but super small in America. I never really understand why. Uh, I don't know.
Is that so?
Yeah, and I wish people in the US use WhatsApp too, but they don't seem to. And I know I have to explain WhatsApp is, and I explain to them that it's like Messenger but different, green in color.
Okay.
So I think I don't know. I can't explain why this happens, but it does. But net, if you found ways to communicate, I think it's a good place to be.
So there is a big difference in usage between countries.
There appears to be, and I think this historically was true, and I don't know the current ones, but publicly I'm pretty sure we've shared that there is
And in terms of demographics, we've always talked about the Facebook generation. Where,
right.
Thinking.
I think, but at least in India, the WhatsApp generation is every generation, right?
Yeah. WhatsApp generation, all of us, we are 80 plus, and we are also WhatsApp generation.
Right, and for some reason that seems to be much more true in some countries and less true in others. So you would not say that to be true in the US. I'm pretty sure it might be more true for Messenger than WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is definitely not as pervasive here. I think India and Brazil are very big WhatsApp users for reasons I don't completely understand.
That's interesting to know. Yeah. Okay, Shirish and Arun.
Do I have time for two more quick questions?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. One question is Facebook has made an investment into Reliance Jio. And perhaps their intention is to monetize this opportunity through Facebook Marketplace as also through WhatsApp. Do you know what the plan is and how they intend to monetize it? One question. Second question is, in recent times, at least in India, there are two things which have given kind of setback or bad name to Facebook. One is Cambridge Analytica, where Facebook data was misused. And the second one, which keeps cropping up, I'm sure it keeps cropping up all over the world, is about fake news. What steps have Facebook taken to curb Cambridge Analytica kind of misuse of data and also to curb fake news?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer those questions. I think the first question on monetizing Geo, I have no idea. And even if I did, I would not be able to share if it are not publicly shared. I honestly don't know. And I don't know if Facebook Marketplace was even around when the Geo deal was created. So I don't know if they're related at all, but I have no visibility. The second one was on Cambridge Analytica and fake news. So I do not wish to offer my personal opinions on Cambridge Analytica because I think they're controversial. But I think in general, there's a lot of scrutiny, both internal and external and auditing now on our privacy mechanisms and data storage and data protection mechanisms. We seem to be getting a lot more negative press these days for being over protective. And yesterday's news, for example, there was a news report from, I think the US government was protesting, or the Senate was protesting, that we are preventing researchers from getting access, where previously Cambridge Analytica, it was leaked through a researcher at Cambridge. So I think when you have 2.2 or 2.8 billion users, you just can't keep everybody happy all the time. That's just what I've learned. So there is a lot of internal auditing, but also externally enforced auditing that guarantees privacy and security of various kinds. There is a very large fraction of the company that works on this at this point. Similarly, on misinformation, I think this is also a hot button topic. I think we have shared publicly on what we do. A lot of my friends actually work directly on this area. I work in the Seattle office, and a large fraction of the Seattle office works on fighting misinformation and various negative interactions on Facebook. When you have a large number of people interacting and each of them has a opportunity to express their opinions, some will be right, some will be wrong. On some opinions, more people are right, and some opinions, more people are wrong. What we've tried to do is reduce the damage caused due to inaccurate or deliberately inaccurate opinions. We'll try to limit or reduce it, but we cannot eliminate it completely. The only way to eliminate it is to prevent people from having that mode of communication. Just like, there is fake news or misinformation on television, and I do not want to get into that because that's a hot button topic on which channels they believe and which channels they do not. Similarly, there are actors or people online who promote or deliberately do this. And we have set a lot of things, changed a lot, or enforced a lot of things so that repeated deliberate actors who do this, propagate misinformation, are penalized and even removed from the platform. But I think we all need to acknowledge the fact that it will never be zero. And the only way it can be zero is if we actually have zero communication.
Is it that Facebook's spectacular growth has brought in too many hot button topics?
I think it's just the diversity of the ways people use it. The larger you are, the more ways people use it, and the more ways people misuse it. And it's about what we amplify also. Sometimes it's easy to forget how different world was before WhatsApp.
Yes.
Or before Facebook. We take those for granted, and then we highlight the things. There's a great feedback and ways to improve, but we just need to acknowledge it won't be perfect.
Yeah.
Again, these are definitely my personal opinions. I don't know if there's a public stand.
That we understand.
I wish to reiterate again.
Yeah. Arun?
Yeah.
Any?
Why people use WhatsApp very frequently, and believe me, it's more important to many people, or they have formed the habit more than even drinking water and call of a small child. But the Facebook is not being used. Now, why I'm saying this? People are gradually getting bored of television. Second, people are also getting bored of WhatsApp. It's not large, but it is decreasing definitely. It's not increasing, it's decreasing. So, in my opinion, Facebook should make India as a study center and development center to diversify their activities in putting some services in India plus commercial. Because WhatsApp is not successful in India in commercial.
I'm happy to. Sure, sorry.
Yeah, give me just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you examples where people have succeeded using India as a base. For example, you've got Microsoft, they've got big development laboratories. IBM, big development laboratories in India, and so many other companies of United States. Now, Facebook should look into the knowledge needs of people and commercial needs so that the experiences can be shared and the market can be increased. But it has to be a study group, not studying the hardware or software of it, but how we can use to develop. Because India is a very large country. with lots of educated people, and top 1% people don't live in India. They go abroad every year, or half percent, 1% or half percent or something like that. So how can Facebook use this as a study place? That is a very important, I think, market for Facebook itself. And it will then replace WhatsApp altogether.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. So I want to reiterate that, if people use WhatsApp and people use less of Facebook, it's okay for us as far as you're concerned. As long as you're getting value out of our products, we feel happy. So I wouldn't say as a company, I don't imagine that we're particularly concerned that you use WhatsApp instead of Facebook. However, the broader point remains on different geographies and countries needing different customizations or special understanding. Uh, I think this is publicly announced. At any rate, it might not be controversial. I can say that India is a very big focus. There are two different aspects you touched, Uncle. One is India and the use cases in India and how to support them, whether commercial or non-commercial. And then the development center. The development center is an orthogonal thing. So let me take the first one. There's a very big focus on the use case in India and how to promote it. We have extensive teams understanding this, extensive focus. This is one of the countries we, as a company, focus on. So I, for example, know America, Brazil, India statistics all the time. So it is just by the sheer number of people who use our products, easily the most important or one of the most important countries. And if to the extent that, you haven't seen adequate customization or needs met is the extent in which we need to increase or continue this work. Several things that I showed earlier today actually were built, at least one of them was, okay, maybe I should not say more, but it's definitely a focus. The second thing is development sector specifically. I think that's an orthogonal question. I think it will come if it is ready, if it is needed. The bunch of companies that you mentioned, which have development centers in India, I think you will be surprised to hear those are actually much, much, much larger than Facebook as an employee base. I think the number of engineers or developers in Facebook is maybe 1/5 of Microsoft and 1/5 of Google. So we're a much smaller company than people realize because the extent in which they use our products is much larger. At some point, when our scale gets to that point, it might become inevitable, but I don't know of any immediate plans to have a development center in India. There is a development center in Singapore, which was opened last year, I think.
I think we
May I add to what
okay.
you
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
Too?
Well, please go ahead.
Just for the information of Arun, Facebook in India has a different structure than Facebook elsewhere. Instead of functional reporting, India has an MD where everything reports to him, Ajit Mohan. Okay, and also India is one of the 3-4 countries where Facebook has consumer marketing teams to expand reach into smaller towns and to increase the user base. It's one of the 3-4 countries in the world where this experimentation is going on. So in that way, there is indeed a focus on India because of the food potential.
Thank you, Uncle. Shirish Uncle knows more than I do about this.
Okay.
It so happens that my daughter is consumer marketing and brand manager for Facebook in India.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Now you tell me. Okay, the remaining questions go to Shirish Uncle and his
Shirish,
daughter. Not to
why didn't you remind me about this? I would have brought her into the panel. I would have asked her to speak, to join the discussion. Wow.
That's, the remaining questions.
I knew this, but I didn't remember at all. It didn't strike me at all. Wow.
Okay, of course, I don't discuss Facebook with her normally. I just happen to know a few things.
No wonder you were talking so much about Facebook and asking. Okay, now we have time for one more question. Anyone can feel free to ask a question, raise the hand, and or write in the chat box. make any comment. Somebody has written saying, I think Dr. Shanta got me back in touch with a long lost friend of mine, thanks to FB, is what I wish to say. Uh, Thanks for giving us WhatsApp. We'll learn to use Instagram. My only problem is WhatsApp is that, you know, there is seems to be some kind of a verbal, what should I say? Not diarrhea. Diarrhea would be too bad a word, but too many things. I'm in a WhatsApp group where ladies keep on posting, how to make pickles and so on, and then pickles videos. And every day you spend a lot of time deleting these videos. Uh, Otherwise, all the storage is taken up by the WhatsApp videos. But I guess there are interest groups which find them useful. Um, so, if there are no questions, um, just about we had given ourselves an hour and 30 minutes, and I think we are on time. Uh, I would like to thank Hetu for being with us, giving us some insights into the working of Facebook. And we will continue to be in touch with you on to know about further developments and the feedback that you've had from us today uh, on what will happen on that. What
Yeah, so I have two things I wrote down. If I've forgotten something, it's actually a great time to remind me.
yeah,
I have the log profile which I wrote down,
yes,
and I have the marketplace fraud that I wrote down.
yes.
If there's any other, I am happy to share this feedback. And there was this auntie who said that her husband is not recognized. I'm suspecting that her husband is not accepting the request, but if there is any more to it than that, then I'm happy to follow up. It
Yeah.
should be a simple bug to fix.
Yeah.
I just do not know. I think it says Natarajan, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Once they agree amongst themselves, you will follow up. You can
I
make
know
sure
better
that
than to step
he is
into
that he is
a
shown his
husband-wife.
husband. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Raja, have you been able to change your birthday on Facebook finally?
I think I have. I had a
Okay.
lot of problem. My birthday date of birth is given wrongly. As however much I tried, I could not change it. So I was not. I stopped getting greetings on my birthday uh, from my students, from my friends, and so on. So
And were
I
you
think
able to
so.
change
Yeah.
it?
So I had to turn to Shirish and his daughter
Oh, okay.
for
Wow.
setting
Okay.
it right. So, okay, fine. Thank you, Hetu. Thank you very much. And also thank you for getting up and making it convenient for you to start off your morning 6:30 to be with us and to talk to us on Facebook.
My
And
father-in-law is on the call. There was no way I could have missed it.
I know. Yeah, he's been following up. He told me that he has spoken to you and
Yeah, last night he called and asked if I needed to be woken up in time. So I took that as
yeah,
a instruction to switch to have only 5 alarms at 6
yeah.
a.m. so that I don't miss this.
Yeah. So, and thank you, Shirish, and thank you, Arun. Uh, you
My
both,
pleasure.
you both have really made the discussion much richer, much more lively, and kept it at a really meaningful level, so that we've all benefited from the discussion that we've had. Uh, Thank you very much. I've got the recording purely for private circulation for all our members, and I shall make that available to you. Thank you very much. Thank you. See you once again. And I must add that I forgot to formally introduce Shirish and Arun. They're not strangers to this program. They've come several times and they have been our well wishers. So I keep on sending messages to them, even if they're not interested, to, to all our programs. And they do join us. Continue to be with us and give us your knowledge, your feedback on the programs that we have. We are going to have a program now on gene therapy from the from Dr. Bhatt, who is the associate director for the Center for Genetics in the Indian Institute of Science, and she's coming in. We have on 21st, we have Rakesh Sharma, the only Indian astronaut who went into space, and he will be in conversation with two scientists from ISRO that we have. That's the next program that we have, And on September 4th, we have on gene therapy and its applications in medicine, particularly, frontier research, precision medicine, cancer, and things of that sort. So those two should also be interesting conversations. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let me, on that note, bring this session to an end exactly 8:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. It was really nice talking to you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.